A few years back when I was coaching the Blue Wings and we had lost in consecutive seasons in the finals in Game 7 against the perennial 5-time championship team that we were trying to defeat. We had lost a couple of 7-game series, just absolutely sick to your stomach, demoralizing, season-ending losses. You know, just an inch away from a championship ring, just an inch away from bringing a championship trophy to our community for the first time in 25 years. Just an inch away from having my dad, who's in the Blue Wings Hall of Fame, 88 years old, and my mom, 88 years old, you know, being on the ice celebrating and lifting that cup. An inch away, but actually miles and miles away, when our season would always come to a thud of an end. Those Game 7 losses aged me 5 and 10 years as a coach, as the owner of the team. And what really is most difficult, and this is why losing should be sick to your stomach, should be something that motivates you and drives you to get up early and stay up late, and to give yourself whatever it is you're doing, to give yourself the very best chance to win, because winning is so difficult. In sports, when we'd lose those Game 7s, we'd be driving home on the coach, on the bus, in complete darkness, complete silence, 23 players, general manager, some coaches, some trainers, some fitness coaches, and the silence is completely deafening. And you're driving for a couple of hours in complete solitude, and all that's running through my mind as the head coach and the owner of the team is we're back to square one. And that's the life of an NFL coach, a NBA coach, a CEO, a father, a husband, is when we have these back-breaking losses. The biggest part of the sick to your stomach, especially in sports, is with teams where you have graduating players, you have players that are leaving for free agency, you have players that are going to university or college. You build it up to get there, you're within an inch of winning a championship and putting a ring on your finger, and within minutes, you're starting all over again. Literally, the next day, you're back recruiting, you're preparing for a draft, you're running summer free agency camps, just, and I mean just, to give yourself a chance to win out of 22, 21 other teams. There's one championship parade, and there's one team that wins their last game. And it was when we were going through these 5 years of second place, trying to beat a 5-time champion city organization and franchise, that I stumbled upon a 60 minutes TV documentary show on Alabama head football coach Nick Saban. And Saban at the time had been at Alabama for something like 7 years. And he, over those 7 years, had reinvented, redesigned, transformed is a better word, the entire Crimson Tide basketball program, or football program, from one of mediocrity, average, ordinary, losing, to the #1 Division I football program in the country. And all the time, Saban had an impressive graduation record with all of his athletes. He had the program churning out millions and millions of dollars, and he was bringing national championships back to the state of Alabama that had got so fond of winning championships during the glorious Bear Bryant era. So they were interviewing him on 60 Minutes, and they were talking about the process, and that was actually the title of the interview on TV. And I watched this video, and it just all of a sudden just clicked that what I had been doing as a coach for the last 5 years, when we had been unable to finish the job, is I had been focused completely 200% on the result. The part of the equation that I could not personally control, the result. I had a picture of the Barclay Cup up on the wall. I talked about winning the Barclay Cup every day. I talked about it in practice. I showed videos. I talked about the part of the equation, the part of the mission to win a Barclay Cup championship for the first time in 2 decades. I talked about the only part that I couldn't personally, or we couldn't personally control as a franchise, when I should have been, as Nick Saban had changed his tactics the last 15 years of his coaching career. He said changing to focusing on the process, focusing on what they can control in the program. In other words, how they practice, how they train, what they eat. And he best said it, in a game, every single play, every single down has a history and a life of its own. And then it's on to the next one. The good or bad, there's no bleeding into the next one. There's no mental weakness. It's on to the next play, on to the next down, on to the next down, on to the next down. And I was just fascinated by this concept of every single play and down having a history and a life of its own. And of course, Saban, this was ultimate accountability for his football players, because the 3 teams in football, defense, offense, and specialty teams, he graded every single player on every single down. So he would say, you know, specialty team, you guys had 13 downs, 13 plays in this game. And then he would grade those and grade individual players. On defense, they may have been on the field for, 20, 21 minutes of the game. He would grade the number of downs, the number of plays, and grade each player. So at the end of it, all the defensive players were ranked from top to bottom with every single individual play graded. He would do the same for the offense. Maybe they were on the field for 31 minutes, and maybe there was 49 plays, 49 offensive plays. He would grade the team, and he would grade every single athlete on the field for those 49 plays. And talk about micro accountability. And Saban said that when he changed to this style of coaching, just before he got to Alabama, he said it relieves so much stress, anxiety, and tension that was unnecessary, because no matter what season, no matter when they were, no matter where he was coaching, on the road, no matter what kind of a recruiting class he had, no matter what the weather was like, no matter about injuries, any of that stuff, he knew that winning was a foregone conclusion if they took care of the process. If they did, the 10,000 things that they had to do every single day. So the process is, he broke it down into practices and games. And I thought to myself, we've been chasing a championship ring. We've been chasing a trophy. We've been chasing the things that are out of our control. And then I dialed it back and said, okay, what if we break down every single one of our hockey games into shifts? Okay, there's 6 players on the ice every 40 seconds, another shift, another shift, another shift. So my assistant coaches went to work that spring and summer, and they watched every single game tape film of our previous season, and they broke it down into the number of shifts that our players had in a game. The first line might have, a top player is on the ice maybe 31 shifts a game. But we broke it down into, okay, there's 75, on average, there's 75 shifts in a typical junior hockey game. And we broke it down into, okay, some players are going to be on the ice for 30 shifts, some are going to be on for 13 shifts, and some are going to be on for maybe 7, 8, 9 shifts, depending upon your role and your responsibilities. And I thought to myself, I said, okay, as a coaching staff, if we play a game and then we watch the film after, and each and every coach, myself included, breaks down every single shift, and we grade every shift as a team, and we also grade every shift individually. In other words, every player gets graded on the number of shifts. Okay, that shift was a 9.5 out of 10. That shift was a 7. As a team, that shift was a win. That shift was a loss. That shift was basically a wash, a tie. And we grade this and we post it in our locker room. And we send it to the players electronically. And we also post it, write it up on the big whiteboards. So public accountability, which, as you know, in business or in sports, automatically increases performance like nothing else. Increases performance more than any fancy diet, any system, any X and O's, any trades, or any of that stuff. Any of that stuff. Public recognition, both negative and positive, increases individual performance and team performance like nothing else. So that's what we did in 2018-19. Is instead of us having the big trophy, instead of us talking about wearing championship rings, instead of like Coach Saban said, talking about what we're going to do, we started talking about how we were going to do it. Those are the exact words of Nick Saban at his introductory Alabama press conference that a lot of people don't remember. The 99% that would go over their head, the media, the fans, the supporters, the boosters. Nick Saban at that opening press conference, taking over a troubled program, a program that historically was used to winning and competing for national championships. And that's exactly what Coach Saban said. He says, I'm not going to stand here and talk about what we're going to do. I'm going to stand here and talk about how we're going to do it. And how they were going to do it was the 40,000 steps to get there. The process, 365 days a year, no days off. So I took this in and used it with our Blue Wings in 2018 and 19, and we broke literally every single day down into the process. This is what we do to practice. This is what we do to train off the ice. This is our nutrition. This is our video. And most importantly, in games, we don't ever look at the scoreboard. We don't ever look at who we're playing. We don't care what the clock says. We don't care if it's a home game. We don't care if it's an away game. We don't care what the weather's like. We don't care what the fans are like. The only thing we focus on is 75 shifts. You winning your shift, resting, and getting ready to win another shift. Win another shift. Win another shift. Win another shift. And the process did exactly what Coach Saban said it would. Even though that was our big championship year where we played more important games than we had in at least 10 seasons, that was one of the most enjoyable, low stress, low anxiety seasons because of the fact, as the owner and coach of the team, I was absolutely certain with every fiber in my body that we were going to win, that we were going to win our final game of the season. We were going to be the team that lifted that trophy. We were going to be the team that was left standing out of 21 out of 22 teams. I never had that feeling the other years when all we did was talk about winning. All we did was talk about things beyond our control. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to win this many games. We're going to go undefeated at home. We're going to do this. And at the end, we were under so much stress, under so much pressure, and I didn't feel in control of the situation. So that is where my diabolical method that never ever fails was built for my world building life. The world that I built as a husband, as a father, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, as a sports coach, as a community leader. All of that stuff comes from this foundation. And I just handed you the keys to literally transforming your life and the results you get, which is all I care about. I don't care about trying. I don't care about attaboys and good job and likes and popularity. At my stage in my career, I care about results. Results in my business, results helping over 1 million businessmen. That's my mission. Results physically, my body, my mind, results in my marriage, results with my daughter, results in my community. Bottom line results is number one, is to forget about the end result. You set a goal, you forget about the end result. In other words, the part that you can't control. It's okay to say, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds. You need to say that and you need to write that down. But here's the thing. Once you say it and write it down and you see that goal, it's like Coach Saban said, we're no longer going to talk about what we're going to do. We're going to focus and talk about how we're going to do it. And that's where most businessmen, the 99% of the ordinary and average, drop the ball. They don't focus on the details and the processes and the actions and the routines and the systems that you have to do on a day-to-day basis to drop that 50 pounds. So the second part of that is to forget about the end goal, and the second part is to control what you can control, which is the process. In our house at home, we have a saying, Krista and I with Emery and all of us, is control the controllable. If Emery's talking about something that happened at school, or maybe, she's upset about something a friend said or some kid, it's always the same for Krista and I. Can we control that? Is that something within our control? If the answer is yes, we take action immediately and we find a solution. But things that you can't control, we immediately as parents bring those to light and say, you know what? That's not within our control. That's like trying to worry about the weather. That's like trying to worry about things that are completely out of your control. That leads to, lack of peace of mind, depression, anxiety, stress, all that stuff. When instead we need to be focusing on what we can control. And what can we control as badass millionaires? You control your daily process. Your daily process. You want to lose 50 pounds, that's great. Put that up somewhere where you see that every single day. But then, okay, the process is eating clean every day, walking every day, or maybe you want to go to the gym, drinking water every day, reducing alcohol, white flour, white sugar. That's the process. And that's the things that you need to focus on because they're all within your control. You can't control whether you're going to lose 50 pounds. Maybe it'll be 70 pounds. Maybe it'll be 39. But that's the kind of stuff that eliminates frustration and all the stuff that makes people quit, is they focus on that 50 pounds and they're like, man, that's a long way off. That's a big goal. That's a big elephant. Well, focus on the process and eat that elephant one bite at a time. How do you do that one bite at a time? Eating clean, moving every day, drinking water, cutting the alcohol, the white flour, the white sugar, and the carbs out of your diet. You know what? You look up in a month, you look up in 6 months, you look up in 12 months, and you've lost 50 pounds, and you'll keep it off because you're focusing on what you can control, which is the process. That's my diabolical method that never, ever, ever fails. I wrote this book before Christmas time, and writing a book is a really big deal for anybody. It's a really, really big deal. It's 300 pages. You've got to put all your ideas together. It's not easy. It's a huge elephant. It's a huge elephant in the room. When I wrote this book, I do this literally after 4.5 years, a couple of pages at a time, every single day. Trust the process, trust the process. I put a picture up on my vision board, a picture of the cover, the actual black and white cover of the book 4.5 years ago that said, how to not get your ass kicked in business and in life. I put that up. Just like Saban said, we want to win national championships. Just like I said, you want to lose 50 pounds or you want to win a Barclay Cup. And then I stopped talking about it and I focused, instead of saying what I was going to do, I started focusing every damn day on how to do it. And every damn day was opening up the laptop, putting my fingers on the keyboard, and literally sitting down and writing first thing in the morning. I set the timer and I would write for 55 to 60 minutes uninterrupted first thing in the morning, even before my walk, and boom, the timer goes off. I go and do my thing. I walk, I do it, read, whatever I was going to do. Next day, open up the laptop, put my fingers on the keyboard, process, process, process. 75 shifts, every single play, every single down, a history and a life of its own. Writing that book every morning, that hour had a history and a life of its own. If it went great on Wednesday, that was great. I'd do it again on Thursday. If I had a tough writing day on Friday, didn't bleed into Saturday. Just sit down, do the work. Sit down, do the work. Sit down, do the work. I did not have any writing marathons. I didn't have any 12-hour writing days that I hear about. I didn't have any missed deadlines. I didn't have any of this stress of manuscripts and I've got to pull all-nighters. I didn't do anything like that. I was just the process every day, the process, the process, the process, the process. And that's what I focused on. I didn't have the stress. I didn't have the anxiety. It was actually an enjoyable procedure because I didn't focus on the end result, which is the book. I'm like, how am I going to write a book? I focused on what I could control. I controlled the controllables, which was me sitting my ass down every day in that chair and doing the one thing that mattered, writing. Writing, writing. Fingers on the keyboard, write. So you can apply this to anything that you want to achieve in your life. You want to make 7 figures. Michael, I want to do the impossible. I want to make 9 figures. Well, you say that you want to make 9 figures, and that's a great goal. You put that up on your vision board, on your wall, and then that's the last time you need to talk about it. And then you need to focus on how you're going to do it. You need to associate with other men that are 9-figure earners. You need to learn from men, businessmen, entrepreneurs, men, women that have earned 9 figures. You need to read books on people that have made 9 figures in the real business world. People that went from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9. You need to listen to podcasts of people that have done 9 figures, have moved from 6 to 7 to 8 to 9. And you need to be in a mastermind group with other 8 and 9-figure entrepreneurs and business people. And every day you have to take action on those things. Control the controllables. I just gave you a diabolical blueprint for becoming an 8 or 9-figure earner. There's no way around it. Those are the things, the associations. Those are the Nick Saban. Every play has a life and history of its own. I just gave you 75 shifts. So you can apply my 75 shifts, okay? Trust the process to anything that you want to achieve in your life. It doesn't make any difference whether you want to make money, you want to lose weight, you want a marriage that's on fire, you want a better connection with your children, maybe you want to make $1 million for the animal shelter, maybe you want to raise $5 million for your local church. What you have to do is state your goal. And then the second thing, most importantly, is you have to control what you can control, which is the daily actions, the daily rituals, the daily items, the daily mindset that gets you there. Chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away, and enjoy the process. Our team would only get ourselves in trouble when guys stopped winning shifts. All through that playoff run, we only lost 2 games, okay, that entire 2-month glorious run. And I remember always going back into the locker room, and my statistician would come into the coach's room, and it would be a period of hockey where we had struggled, and he would say to me, before I could even say anything, he'd say, "Back to winning shifts, Michael, back to winning shifts." So that was the message that I had to go back into the locker room. These kids are 17 to 21. Simplicity, like Steve Jobs says, rules the day. I didn't have to give them any elaborate schemes or plans or trick plays or any of that horse shit. It was back to winning shifts. And also accountability built into that too, where he would come in, my statistician, who was Mark, he would come in and he'd say, "Michael, our third line didn't win a shift that period." Or he would say, "Trent Harris didn't win a shift that period." Or he would say, "Our top line on our power play lost all 3 shifts." And there's nowhere to hide with those types of results and analytics. And I would be able to walk in there, Mark would have the iPad, and he would show it around to the players, and he would literally say, "You didn't win a shift that period, or your line was like 5 wins and 3 losses, because our goal was to never lose a shift. Our goal as a team in 3 periods, 25-0, 25-0, 25-0. That was the standard. 25-0, 25-0, and 25-0. So in any regular game, I would come in after the period and I would say, okay, there was 25 shifts that period. We were 21-5. And I would name the 5 lines that were out there that got beat on their shift. Public announcement. Do you think that line or those players involved didn't pick it up and their energy and their work ethic and their toughness the next period? You're damn right they did. You think going back on practice nights and seeing your performance graded from the last 2 games, A, B, C, D, E, all the way down every shift, how many you won, and you're the only guy on the board that was on there that lost 6 or 7 shifts? Man, you're really going to pick up your pace. You're really going to take your game to that next level. So that's what that accountability of sticking to the process does. And I remember walking into the locker room with 20 minutes to go. We had a 4-1 lead in game 5 of the finals. And here we are on the road in a visiting arena, and we're 20 glorious minutes, 1 period, from doing the unthinkable, from winning a Barclay Cup championship. And this is where the process and the stress and the peace of mind and all of it from learning from Coach Saban came all together at once. So in the old days, I would have walked in that room with 1 period to go, and I would have said, we got to play our best period. These guys are going to come hard. We got to be prepared. We got to play strong defense and all this stuff. It's very complicated. I walked in there and I addressed our guys in 20 seconds. I said, we have started this season 40,000 shifts we had to win. 40,000 shifts in games and practices since September. I said we're down to 20 shifts. 20 shifts. I didn't mention the clock. I didn't mention winning. I didn't mention the Barclay Cup. Just like I had done for 8-9 months straight, is I said to them, you now have 25 more shifts to win. And literally I said to my assistant coach, Brian, and I said, Brian, listen, on the bench, every time we change, I said, I want you to yell out the number. 1, then 2, every time we win a shift, 3. And that was his only job that period, was to yell out winning shifts. I said, when you get to 25, when you've won 25 shifts, I said, look up at the board and you will be happy with the result. Until then, we don't care about the score. We don't care about who we're playing. We don't care about anything, but every shift has a life and history of its own. And I'll never forget standing on that bench in that tough arena against that heavily favored team. And it was 1, then 2, and then 12, and then 15, and the clock was coming down, and then it was 20, 21, and I'll never forget this, the horn sounded on our 27th shift of the period. We won our 27th shift. Hundreds of people came on the ice to celebrate. My parents were out there lifting up the trophy. My wife Krista was on the ice. Players, it was mayhem. Incredible mayhem. And that's how we closed the deal with those 27 glorious shifts. Process. Some players had 3 shifts that period. Some players had 21. Win your shift. Think about that today, men, how you can apply the 75 shifts, how you can apply that to your life and your business. Isn't every single day that we live about winning shifts? Isn't our business about winning shifts? Isn't our marriage and our relationship with our children and grandchildren, when it gets down to it, isn't it a process? Isn't it a process? It's not a glorious goal that we talk about. It should be something that we say, we don't say, this is what I want to do. We say, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to become a championship father. This is how I'm going to become a championship businessman. This is how I'm going to earn 9 figures. This is how I'm going to drop 50 pounds. This is how I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day. This is how I'm going to raise $5 million for my church. This is how I'm going to coach my kids' team, and then work the process back from there. So that's my diabolical plan for achieving anything you want in your life with almost no stress, no anxiety, and none of that other stuff. Because In your mind, guys, you're almost absolutely positively certain it's just a matter of when you win. It's just a matter of when you win. That 27th shift, you look up and you've achieved that goal. And that's what the process is all about. So focus on how the process, focus on what you can control the controllables, and let me know how you make out. If you're interested in learning the details of how to make this actually happen in your world, make sure that you sign up below to my world building program, which starts on Tuesday, March 29th. And you can sign up for that below. You can join a waiting list at badassmillionaire.com/apply. badassmillionaire.com/apply. And you and I will get on the phone. We'll talk about your business. We'll talk about your goals. We'll talk about the world that you want to build and transform your life into. And I'll let you know whether you fit in and whether I can help you. And there's no pressure, no salesman. I'm just you and me on the phone. And if you're living a quiet life of desperation right now, where you don't feel that you're living life on your own terms, or you don't feel that you're making a difference, or you're not serving your true purpose, you need to apply below at badassmillionaire.com/apply. Time is finite, energy is finite, and there's no better time to leave that personal prison, that personal hell that you may be living in, and to remove the handcuffs and start living life and doing business on your own terms. There's nobody better on the planet at world building than the guy you're looking at right now. It's what I do, it's what I live, it's what I've done for 18 years. I continue to do it today. I'm not living in the past. I'm not teaching something that I used to do. I'm not selling fantasy sold as reality. You're learning from a guy who lives it, who's built it, who's been through the wars. I've been through the failures. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. But you're also working with a hard-ass coach who will hold you accountability and get you the results in your business, in your marketing, in your marriage, in your relationship with your children, time management, whatever it is. I'm a results-driven guy. The $10,000 comes with a nice $15,000 fat discount. Are you kidding me? $10,000 to transform your life into a world of your dreams. That's pocket change. That is chump change for a badass millionaire. Soon as this program's done in 8 weeks, the price tag goes up to 25 grand, and I won't be coaching it personally. I'm going to go through this 8-week program with you. Just by the association. Remember I mentioned about what it would take to make 8 or 9 figures? What did I talk about? I talked about the books you need to read, the people you need to listen to, the mastermind you need to be a part of, the people you need to associate with, the things you need to listen to and hear every single day. And you need a coach that's done it and continues to do it in the real world. Not some guru or pretend expert, somebody who's already doing what you want to do. I've built my world both personally and professionally, and I live in it, and I'll help you do the very same this coming March. But you got to move now. This is for champions, not chumps. This is for contenders. This is for lions, not sheep. So get on the job, fill out the form below. You and I will get on the phone, and we'll start helping you live life and do business on your own terms. That's it. I'm heading home for a swim. Had a great 4-mile power walk this morning with my wife, Krista. If you ever want to put your marriage to the test, start walking with your spouse every Saturday and Sunday. Literally, brutal honesty. I don't know what it is about walking. All I know is it's true. If you want open and honest communication with your wife, just go walking. It's like, honest to God, walking is like truth serum for a marriage. Like, it could be me, it could be her, but you just can't stop talking about the important. And we end up talking about stuff that we don't even need to be that we wouldn't have talked about. That's just so groundbreaking. It's so important because it's something subconsciously that's maybe been bothering one of us. And we just had another walk like that, Saturday morning walk, where, Krista had some things that she wanted to talk about. She didn't even know she did. And we went for a nice hour, 4-mile walk. and she got to talk to me about it. I got to listen and respond. And that's why Steve Jobs used to do all his job interviews by taking the applicants for a walk. There's something about walking that brings out the candor, the honesty, the unvarnished truth. And man, oh man, is it hard and good for your relationship. We'll go for a walk with your teenagers with no technology and see what happens. Go for a walk with your daughter. Go for a walk with your son. Go for a walk with your grandkids. Go for a walk with your mom or dad. Go for a walk with your wife and see what happens. After about a quarter of a mile, it's just like open and honest communication. I can't recommend it more. That's it for today. 2 words that changed my life. 2 words that will change yours. Be relentless.